This presentation will look at the style, structure and layout of media releases by comparing two different media releases from two different Australian organisations. The first example is a weaker example from COASIT from March this year. It's about COASIT's denial of allegations of misspending funds. We'll compare this to a stronger example from Quit Victoria from May 2012, which is about Quit Victoria urging smokers to stop smoking as part of World No Tobacco Day. Let's start by looking at the COASIT example and looking at the headline and lead. The headline doesn't actually tell us what the media release is about, and the lead also doesn't help to bring clarity as it's clunky and long and one has to read it twice to fully understand what it's about. Even when one does read it twice, it's still ambiguous, as while it refers to recent allegations, it doesn't say who made those allegations or what they were about. Now let's compare this to the example from Quit Victoria. Here the key message is immediately and clearly conveyed in the headline and lead. The headline is concise and informative, and the lead is under 25 words. These both follow the News Limited style, and together they ensure that the reader is with Quit Victoria and set up to properly take in the key message. Still looking at the Quit Victoria media release, and structurally it then goes on to follow the inverted pyramid, starting with key information like the date and 2012's theme, and then continuing on to more peripheral information such as reasons to quit smoking. But importantly, it continues to reinforce the key message throughout through the inclusion of shocking figures such as that 4,000 Victorians die every year of smoking-related illnesses. Let's contrast this to the COASIT example, where a particular problem makes it almost impossible to remain engaged. The media release is simply far too long. A media release is meant to assist the reader in understanding the message, but this is almost making it hard work. A lot of extraneous information is included to the point it almost reads like a biography. Founded in 1968, by 1992, around this time. Now let's turn again to the Quit Victoria example and look at the use of quotes. Structurally, quotes are used well as they're introduced early in the media release. And more importantly, lots of quotes are used, which adds a bit of colour. For example, "They have exploited every trick in the book" is certainly some very strong language, and while you couldn't get away with that if it weren't in quotes, it's just so valuable because it conveys a sense of conflict which gets attention and makes the key message memorable. This is in stark contrast to the COASIT media release in which not a single quote is used. Instead of using quotes to add colour, COASIT goes in a very wrong direction as the whole tone of its media release is not objective and impartial, but brimming with bias and subjectivity. COASIT seems to use it as a chance to vent. This is evident in loaded language, such as describing the allegations as utterly false and coming from a small number of disgruntled individuals. Combined with clumsy sentence structure, this has the effect of making the media release seem amateurish. The differences between the two media releases continue in a number of other structural and stylistic areas. The COASIT media release overall has a stilted feel. For example, it has too many unnecessary commas, such as afterwords at the beginning of sentences. Similarly, the use of dot points disrupts the flow of the media release. By contrast, adherence to News Limited style strengthens the Quit Victoria media release. For example, consistent use of one sentence per paragraph, one idea per sentence makes it easy to follow. From a technical standpoint, run-on quotes are presented in the correct style with open quotation marks at the end of the first quote. The formatting of names when attributing quotes is done correctly following the order of organisation, role and name. It deviates from the News Limited style in that Miss Lindorf's title is capitalised, but that might be part of Quit's own house style. Looking at the layout, it's as a media release should be. Date up the top, contact details down the bottom. Although the words media release aren't written as part of the letterhead and the word ends isn't written at the end, this again may be owing to Quit's own house style. While the COASIT media release does follow these conventions, this cannot compensate for its overall deviation from appropriate style, which gives it an amateur feel. The Quit Victoria media release illuminates the key message for the reader rather than making them dig for it, and ultimately that's what style and structure should do. That's all we have time for now. Thank you for listening.